Hey, what's up, everybody? JuiceMonsta88 here. Here I am to talk about my thoughts about the death of George A. Romero, which is kind of shocking news to me for every zombie horror fans out there. Even though I just figured out this when I came from work, and I just found out about that from a friend of mine at work who told me about it. And I was pretty shocked to hear about George A. Romero had passed away out of lung cancer, and he is the godfather of the dead, and he is the father of the zombie horror film of this day, of the modern era. He's the one who came of the the flesh eating zombie of the era and made something totally different. And he was a very independent man who made an independent film that broke new grounds, known as Night of the Living Dead. It was controversial, but it was scary. But at the time, it blew out right in the water. And I remember I met one of the writers who helped out George A. Romero. Um, Wrote Night of the Living Dead. I forgot his name though, but I got his book though. I read a little bit. It was pretty interesting how he all the troubles they go through and the budget of the movie, and copyright things that happen there. Despite all that, but he was the father of horror, and it was kind of you know kind of hurt. It's like with something in your heart, and he's a hero of the independent films. He was one of the best influence to be the independent filmmakers. He was one of my influence too, and I love George A. Romero's film work. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. His work can contribute with Creep Show, Tales of the Dark Side, Monsters, and other ones that he was working on that he was working past in the days. And it was just so it came out of the water. And personally to me, I mean, there's other movies he did though that he helped out making. And then he helped out making writing directors despite all the zombie films he did. He helped out make Creep Show, and he helped out producing. He write some of the episodes for Creep Show 1 and 2, of course. Um, and he helped. I think he directed one of the episodes of Creep Show segments, and I'm researching right now as I'm trying to you know, it was just that it was just so crazy in his passing and died of lung cancer. And it was just that he was the father of modern horror, the zombie era. And there'll be no zombie horror movies and no Resident Evil, no other stuff without him. Because he break open doors of the new genre of horror, of zombies, and everything else around it. I believe the first movie I remember seeing they did is with my brother at the time. I think it was my brother and his friend saw this movie called Dawn of the Dead on VHS tape. And I think I watched it with him too. And it blew my mind. It was so good how that before I was know about zombies, Resident Evil got to me first before I didn't know about George A. Romero until a movie that my father, my brother did. I mean, my brother here, and he's showing this thing with his friend called Dawn of the Dead, and I watched with him. And I said, "Whoa, that'd be a great person who could direct a Resident Evil movie. Whoever's the director of that movie, she should do Resident Evil the movie." But ironically, he originally supposed to be the director of Resident Evil movie, and you know, and they didn't like the script he wrote. So he gave him a good advice though, but I guess they didn't follow it up to him in the standards. But it's really like words cannot describe it. And you see, I would love to meet George A. Romero, George R. A. Romero, but I met one of the writers who knew him, and I wish I could met him too. But it's best to remember him, they say. And I like his style of it. I like the way how when he writes and directs and edits it and do his own thing, he's like original one man crew of independent films, and he produces his own stuff. And that's why I found influence of him. Like me when I was doing YouTube videos, I was a one man crew, and then he was a one man crew with little help though, because there'll be no other horror movies besides him, because he's the one who break the barriers, open doors for any independent horror directors, independent horror writers out in the world to do their thing, and mostly influenced by him. I'm not be on script though, because I'm talking with my thoughts about it, and sorry if I screaming out a little bit. So it's that Night of the Living Dead was a low budget movie. It was a budget of the movie about $114,000, and how much he made in the box office, $30 million. Now that was, at the time, it was insanity. At the time, it was truly insanity. And what controversial is, was so crazy, he has a black character to be the main character of the story. And that kind of, like, he said, he don't give a fuck. I like his attitude. He don't give a fuck about the things about it. He will make the movie. He don't care what the heck you are. If you in it, you in it. And it was just that one of those movies that was the first, like, gore in the 1960s. It was the last black and white film. And you know, it's just that one of those things that I remember my brother was talking about George A. Romero and all the stuff he helped out Creepshow, like I said before, and those are great. And it was just a very talented man, a very influential man. He inspired many filmmakers, and he's part of the influence. And what's so great about that film is it's so scary at the time, and still rewatchable in this day. Even a cult following, even though people have forgot about it, but there's a cult following. My personal favorite film from him is Dawn of the Dead. I mean, Night of the Living Dead was great. Dawn of the Dead was great. It was just like, it's a rewatchable value. Quote from James Rolfe, which I agree. It was just like, wow. And it's just that, how can I say this before let's say about it? I'm gonna say rest in peace to him. My condolences to the family. At least he died with see his family around him. That's the most beautiful thing for him. That he be around his family, and despite have lung cancer. And if it wasn't for George A. Romero, there would be no other zombie horror movies that up to the par than that. That's what I'm gonna say. And ironically, I forgot to tell you this, that like I said before, he originally supposed to be the Resident Evil director and screenwriter, but they didn't like it. And so, but he did direct a commercial for Resident Evil 2. But the problem is in Japan. And he did a great job. He directed it. His style of it, how he did it, it's just unbelievable. And it influenced everybody. It influenced me. It influenced my brother, and it influenced everybody who loves old school horror movies, the zombies apocalypse. And it's just that, words cannot describe it. And I know I'm getting off topic though, because I want to say that George A. Romero, thank you so much for what you brought in this world, and bring something new scares of our lives to make it enjoy. And it's just that, that words cannot describe. And that's what I'm going to say about what I'm going to say in my video. And, I'm a big George A. Romero fan of zombie movies. Land of the Dead was great as well. I remember seeing, that's the first movie I seen in theaters, to see Land of the Dead. It was decent. I like Land of the Dead. And there's another movie he's talking about, and guess what? He lied. He lied about not retiring making zombie movies, but he lied to himself, and he makes more, like Diary of the Dead, which is not bad at all, and Survivor of the Dead. I think I remember seeing a little bit of that one. I don't know. Personally, it's kind of sad he's gone, but you gotta be blessed to have things around him, to see all the things before he was passed on. And it was just that, and I recommend this documentary that I saw right here called Dead On: The Life of Cinema of George A. Romero. If you're out there who are watching J. Romero, I think you should watch his movies and his documentary Dead On. That's almost said right now. I know I went off topic though. It was just a really a shocking moment for me. I just found out, despite all the things around it. Every director has been influenced by him. Even me, I was so influenced by his work. So is my brother, and he loves Dawn of the Dead. I love Dawn of the Dead myself. That's one of the best movies to me he made. And I mean, Night of the Dead, Living Dead was the one that breaks new grounds of horror. Dawn of the Dead has that rewatchable value, like he said. But I just want to say, rest in peace, George A. Romero, all the fans out there. Let's continue on. Even though even though he's gone from this earth, but he will never, ever be forgotten, no matter what. George A. Romero, rest in peace. Thank you for everything. Thank you for good scares. Until we meet again in the afterlife. This is JuiceMonsta88 signing out, and you have a good day. Rest in peace, George A. Romero, the godfather of the dead and the father of the modern zombie movies. Rest in peace, man. Thank you so much.